So, 9 months into starting Renew, and here's what I didn't expect. First thing, set out to make it a movement-based alternative provision. After reading Andre Agassi's book, inspired around sport, physical activity, PE, it's what I know, it's what I'm best at. Health and fitness and well-being, all kind of intertwined woven into what we do. That changed very quickly in the early days when I recruited my manager Pete, and we started to think about actually there's a real need for academic support for children that struggle to be in mainstream. So that's the first thing. I was hoping that my plan was thoroughly thought out, which it was. It just didn't materialise. I was hoping for steady growth and a clear model and a bit more control over what happened. The reality was getting onto the local authority framework was far trickier than I was led to believe it would be. Hurdles put in the way, and that then in my mind stopped or slowed down that steady growth. So we opened in September, recruited 2 teachers to start bringing in young people to work with in November, and a month later no kids in. So starting to panic, started to think, started to feel the pressure of not filling places with payroll, with money going out and nothing coming back in. It felt very unpredictable, very unstable. It was stressful, and I'd mapped it out. I thought, we'd get onto the local authority framework with 3 SLAs. Knew I'd get those through the relationships that I'd built over the years with local primary schools, local secondary schools. I knew that I'd be able to get those in at a lower price point just to get working with young people, and that happened. But then it was, well, actually, you need to be working with those young people for 3 months before we can get you onto the framework, which was never spoken about, or maybe I didn't delve deeply enough into it. But despite all the early challenges and those what felt like really significant setbacks just ahead of a Christmas break, a 2-week break where there definitely wouldn't be any income, any revenue generated, was quite daunting. And the reality was that I had to put more money into the business that I'd not planned for. But I still believed in the vision. I still believed in where we were going. I knew that long term we would be a success. And what was really difficult at that time, and what I had to do was really just think, find solutions, build relationships, make new relationships, try and have as many conversations with people to create awareness about what we're doing, but also that the children that we were working with, that really small group, it was working, and what we have created is of huge value, which was a concept at the time. I thought it was going to be valuable to schools, but I didn't know. Then fast forward to January, we managed to get a couple more contracts in, still not on the framework. That didn't happen until the end of February half term, which was way later than I had anticipated. But actually, what we had to do to get working and to get active and to be functional and to make the business survive ultimately by building those relationships and almost going through the back door with a lot of schools has served us really well, because we don't actually have a young person from the local authority framework as yet, and recording this in on the 2nd of May. So if we were solely reliant on the framework, we would probably been even further behind than where we were at that point. What happened was, because we built things well and we believed in what we were doing and we knew the outcomes would be great for the children, as soon as we started working with young people and reporting every couple of weeks, so that evidence was being shared and word was getting out, and then before we knew it, we were up and running, we were working, and we were reaching capacity. And I'm thankful to say that now, at the time of recording this, I thought the capacity of our site would be 6 to 8, and we're around that 6 mark every day. We've probably got a few spaces, but it's a fully functional business. We're profitable at the moment. We certainly weren't back when, but we are profitable, and we've now got the problem of reaching capacity and where do we go next. So that's where we are now. Wasn't planned, but didn't happen the way I planned it, but it's been successful, I'm pleased to say. And if I think about the hardest part of all of it, it was that emotional weight. It was, shit, I've got people to pay, and we got no money. I knew that I'd invested a certain amount, and I was comfortable, and I always had it in the back of my mind that I may have to go again. But I think because I knew and I believe the mission, I believe the vision, and I thoroughly love what we do, and we are making a difference. But it didn't stop the emotional weight of no revenue versus significant payroll going out. And whilst I believed long term, until you start to see those crumbs of success, it's all theory, it's all a concept, and that was tough. And alongside that, I suppose making it a financially viable proposition was key to the long-term success. And we're still 9 months in, it's still in its infancy, so lots can happen, but we are proving that the concept works. So those two things, financially viable and the emotional way, were really tough. Managing people is challenging, but it's something I love, and I'm so thankful, and thankful is the right word, that I was introduced to Pete and knew straight away that he was someone that was good at all the things that I'm shit at, and I knew that we'd be a really good match for him managing the company and me, being the founder and doing all the strategic work. So I knew that he was the right person. He's great at managing the team, and I'd like to think that I'm great at managing above that team to make sure that everything's in place, and then we've got a really good culture within what we've created at Renew so far. So yes, managing people's tricky, but I do love it, and probably one of my strengths, I think. And then the next problem is, where do we go next? We want to scale, I want to scale, so we're going to double capacity by going onto the upstairs floor, and we're looking at a different type of provision, maybe an outdoor provision that we can add from September. So yes, it's exciting to think about the expansion, but then also you've got the financial weight thing again. But I'm very ambitious, and if I think of pushing forwards when unsure, that was certainly where I was. Launching a business, recruiting a manager who's on a decent salary, as you can imagine, and teachers with experience, and paying them what they're worth to make sure that what we deliver is outstanding, or as close to that as possible every single day. And that pushing forwards with uncertainty is kind of where we're at now again, that we've reached capacity. We are being more led by the numbers because they exist, so we know that there's capacity to go upstairs and fill that floor as well. The outdoor ed is a little bit unknown, so we're going to test that in September, and that's where we are. I think the biggest lesson for me, and what I guess I've kind of spoken about over the years and really thoroughly believed in, firstly, that it's easy to make plans. It's easy to say, I think I might do this. I might do this in 6 months. I'm just going to build it in the background. But when I took ownership of myself and thought, over the years, I was looking for a bit of a safety net with someone to go into business with, perhaps, where we could share the financial burden or the weight of responsibility. I thought, do you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do it myself. And that responsibility, that autonomy to do it myself, I think has driven me to do what we've done now. The perfect plan didn't exist. I thought it was a good plan, and it was, but I took action. And I think that's where some people don't. If they don't take action, they rather plan things and procrastinate, and it doesn't happen. And we grew and we've become successful, not because of the plan, but because of how reactive and how we've not pivoted, but we've adjusted, we've evolved to the market, we've evolved and adjusted to the circumstances to make this work. And that's what I would say is, if we'd stuck to the plan rigidly, or even if that plan had worked, getting onto the framework earlier and then thinking, well, where are the kids? We're on the framework, but where are the kids? We probably wouldn't be where we are now. And I know this now, that to be successful, it feels like you need to sit in that uncertainty for longer and be, I wouldn't say comfortable, it's probably not the right word, but be happy. Again, not the right word. Let's go with comfortable. Be comfortable in that uncertainty as long as you have the faith and belief that it will work, but also guided by the numbers. So we didn't have the numbers in terms of profit and work that we're doing, but we did have the numbers in terms of how many children need this type of provision, how many kids are not at school in the Somerset, how many children are EOTAS, how many children are NEET, how many children have EHCPs. Enough, more than enough, to make this an exciting business proposition. And what do we do moving forwards? Well, go upstairs, double capacity, look at the outdoor option and double capacity again, which is really exciting to me, and multiple sites potentially down the line. So that's been the first 9 months at Renew, and I hope that's helpful.